How is everybody doing? I hope you're all well. In this video we're going to take a look at the vinyl albums of Canadian singer, songwriter, poet Leonard Cohen. Cohen started writing at a young age and publishing books, and in the late 60s he turned his hand to making records, and while it was a slow start, taking him a long time really to get accepted in wider circles, eventually by the late 80s he had become a household name, and then from there on Cohen has surprised the critics time and time again by recording some fantastic albums. Themes that reoccur over and over in Cohen's written and recorded work are themes of sex, religion, loss, longing, relationships, and other themes. There's a strong sense of longing and just a strong sense of trying to make sense of what life actually is itself. Not in a very philosophical way though, in a way that's quite enjoyable to read. His prose and poetry are excellent in the way that they describe things that you normally wouldn't really think of. Cohen has been hugely influential on other artists. There's been a good few tribute albums to Leonard Cohen. I'm Your Fan comes to mind from the early 90s, and then there's other albums featuring more mainstream artists. His first album to be released was titled Songs of Leonard Cohen. This was released in 1967 by Columbia. It's a pretty sparse album with just Cohen playing guitar and singing. It doesn't really have any ensemble playing on it. His guitar style is actually quite good. It's minimal, but he has a nice type of a minimal flamingo type style, which is quite rhythmic as well, and it carries the song. He doesn't strum the guitar the way Bob Dylan does, but it's quite enjoyable, and it's quite relaxing and quite, how will I put it? It's enjoyable to listen to. Yeah, he's not trying to push anything into your face or anything like that. This one features Suzanne, which was a pretty big hit for Leonard, master song. Sisters of Mercy, So Long Marianne, that was another big hit. That's No Way to Say Goodbye. Yeah, it's a pretty good album. It got good reviews when it came out, and it was produced by John Simon. This is a pretty old one, made in England. CBS orange label. Nice condition too. His second album, Songs from a Room, was released in 1969. This album is similar enough to the first one in that it's quite sparse, and mainly a nylon string guitar is what Leonard was playing over the years. This one features Bird on a Wire. It's a pretty well-known Cohen classic. Also features Story of Isaac, the Partisan. It's an old song from the Second World War. The Butcher is on this, and You Know Who I Am. Again, it's similar enough to the first album. You know, it's kind of a, how will I put it? It's almost like a second volume of similar style acoustic songs that are telling stories. was produced by Bob Johnson. This one was also released on CBS of Columbia. It's an 80s press, which I bought in October 1988. I started getting into Cohen. So it's got all these other albums on the sleeve here, which is kind of cool. Next up is Live at the Isle of Wight, 1970. This was actually released in 2009, so it's not from 1970 as such, but this is where it fits in the discography, I guess, in retrospect. He played at the Isle of Wight Festival, I think around 4 AM, 4 in the morning, and the crowd were tired, rowdy, and people thought this was going to be an absolute disaster, but he won the crowd over. He has a small band here, a few guitar players, bass player, some backing singers, keyboards. There's no drums on it, but it's probably Cohen at his rawest. He's very, very raw. His voice will definitely turn away people who like to hear proper singers, but he speaks between tracks and it's actually very, very good. So this is kind of an essential purchase, as it's you know, an important document as well, and it's got some great tracks on it. Bird and Wire, So Long Marian, You Know Who I Am, Lady Midnight, Tonight Will Be Fine, Hey That's No Way to Say Goodbye, Diamonds in the Mine. That was a new track that would not appear until Songs of Love and Hate, which was his third album. Sing Another Song Boys, that actually appears on Songs of Love and Hate, this actual version. Famous Blue Raincoat is also on it. The original recordings were supervised by Tio Macero. You might know him from working with Miles Davis throughout the 50s and the 60s and 70s. This is a 2017 reissue. I didn't buy it first time when it came out, I only bought it recently, but it's quite nice and I enjoyed listening to it. Some great photographs as well. Each vinyl LP is more or less the same. Picture of Leonard on one side and the track listing on the other. Same as the disc 1 and 2 are more or less the same, the way they're presented. There's some essays to read through here which are nice. Yeah, I could definitely recommend this. It's a lovely souvenir. Next up is Songs of Love and Hate. This is probably one of my favourites of the early albums. I think it's great. I prefer it than the first two, to be honest. The songs are great on this. The lyrics are brilliant. There's no track listing actually on the jacket itself. This was released in 71. The inner sleeve, just spiel on other albums. So this one, again, CBS. Orange label, has Avalanche on it, and I really like that track. And Last Year's Man is another great track. Dress Rehearsal Rag, that's a great song as well. I love the lyrics in it. He talks about razor blades and that, about stuff, and people kind of use that as a thing for, oh, Leonard Cohen would drive you to suicide. I think his music is quite funny. I never thought of it as depressing or dour. Yeah, if you're open-minded, you'll get a good laugh out of Leonard Cohen's songs. Diamonds in the Mine is another great track. This one, yeah, there's actually drums on that track, I think, yeah, so he started to use more instruments. I've Called You By Your Name, that's another great track. Famous Blue Raincoat, that's a great track as well. Sing Another Song Boys, that's from the Isle of Wight concert, and Joan of Arc. Yeah, this is a good one. It's quite dark and quite bleak. I think he was depressed at the time as well, and thinking of getting out of music, but thank God he didn't. Next up is Live Songs. This was released in 1973. This one, it's not bad, but I always found that the quality was pretty poor. It's quite dull and muffled and lacks any types of dynamics at all. Yeah, even on CD. Yeah, so it's one you got to be careful of because it doesn't sound that great. But Tonight Will Be Fine, again, is from the Isle of Wight, 1970. This is Minute Prologue, London 72, Passing Through, London 72. You Know Who I Am, Brussels 72. Bird on a Wire, Paris 72. Nancy, London 72. Improvisation, Paris 72. Story of Isaac, Berlin 72. Don't Pass Me By, A Disgrace, London 1970. Queen Victoria, Room in Tennessee, 1972. Yeah. Just a rare sleeve. This is the US pressing. But on the label itself here it says 1973 Sony Music Entertainment, so it was obviously pressed sometime in the 90s, I'd say. Anything before 1990 would be just CBS, but when Sony took them over it became Sony Music Entertainment. So yeah, this one, it's only okay, you know, you don't really need it, but if you can pick it up cheap, it's worth having, I guess. Next up is New Skin for the Old Ceremony. This one was released in 1974, and this is the UK pressing, I think, because a lot of pressings have got no wing here covering the nudity, and it was censored, I guess. This is actually a quite good album as well. I like it. It's got some nice arrangements on the songs as well. He branches out, you know, there's other instruments being used. Is This What You Wanted? That's good. Chelsea Hotel Number 2, that's a great track. I think it's about Janis Joplin. Lover, Lover, Lover is very good. Field Commander. And Why Don't You Try? There's a War, A Singer Must Die. That's another great track. Great lyrics. I Tried to Leave You, Who by Fire. That's another great track as well. Take This Longing. Leaving Green Sleeves. That's pretty... yeah. It's kind of like a wailing song. There you go, I see there's no wing there, so yeah. It's doctored. So yeah. So you got 1, 2, 4 wings, but it's all over. A wing hug with a wing wheel like that. Here we go again. Columbia, CBS, orange label. Pretty old. Next up is Greatest Hits. This was released in 1975. Now, there's nothing new here, but it just takes in songs from his first 4 studio albums. If you've nothing else by Cohen, well then, this is a nice album because it just shows his poetry and his sparse musicianship over 12 tracks, which is concise, and it's got all the big hits on it. Suzanne, Sisters of Mercy, So Long Marianne, Lady Midnight, The Partisan, Bird on a Wire, That's No Way to Say Goodbye, Famous for Raincoat, Last Year's Man, Chelsea Hotel, Who by Fire, Take This Long, and the sleeve notes by Cohen himself. This has been reissued on compact disc in the last 10 or 15 years, and it also has some extra tracks on it, which takes us into the 80s and 90s with Leonard. There's also Essential Leonard Cohen and stuff like that. Some of those might have made vinyl cut years later, but yeah. That's the CBS. They call this the Pac-Man. The Pac-Man logo. There's something else in here as well. Yeah, the lyrics. Yeah, so there you go. It's pretty nice. Like I said, not essential, but as a standalone greatest hits from the 70s, it's a nice album to have. Next up is the infamous and troubled death of a ladies' man. Right, this one. It's actually a good album. I like the songs, I like the lyrics, but the production is by Phil Spector. In fact, he produced it, but also wrote some of the songs with Leonard. It's a collaboration. That's Suzanne there, by the way. This one is a mess. You know, the sound is pretty poor. I just think that it could do with the master tape being remixed from scratch and try and get it a little bit more listenable. Yeah, Spector. I think Spector used to have a gun in the studio and used to take the master tapes home with a suitcase handcuffed to his wrist. Yeah, a lot of musicians on this one. There's even a synthesizer on it. It's a bit of a mess, like I said. It's probably an 80s pressing, I reckon. True Love Leaves No Traces. It's a good track, I like it, yeah. Iodine, I love that. Paper Tin Hotel is good. Memories. Side 2, I Left a Woman Waiting. And then Don't Go Home With Your Heart On. That's a terrible song. But Bob Dylan actually sings backing vocals on that. Fingerprints and Death of a Ladies' Man. It's quite long and serious. He also had a book titled Death of a Ladies' Man. So there you go. Yes, I'd say that someday they may reissue it. I'm not sure who owns the masters and stuff like that, but it will be interesting to see what they could do with it. Again, well worth investigation, but don't expect miracles from it. Recent songs, and this was released in 1979. This one is pretty mellow. I always liked it. It moves at a slow pace. Here though, he's got a band that's a bit tighter and stuff like that. It's got The Guests on it, which I really like, and Humble in Love, that's a great track. The Window, Came So Far for Beauty, that's another great track. And The Lost Canadian, it's kind of funny song with French vocals as well as English, and a mariachi style band. The Traitor, Our Lady of Solitude, The Gypsy's Wife, The Smoky Life, I like that as well. Jennifer Warnes appears on that. She was one of his backing singers, and I think she really complimented his music. In fact, in 1986-87 she released Famous with Raincoat, which was her interpretation of Leonard Cohen songs, and that's a good album as well. And he appears on Joan of Arc on that album, singing in a duet with Warren. Ballad of the Absent Mayor. So this was produced by Leonard Cohen and Henry Louis. Yeah. Production is good, the sound quality is good as well. Like I said, it's a pretty mellow album. Pretty mellow. And I do like it though. There you go. Looks like an 80s press. Yeah, it's a good album. Next up is Field Commander Cohen. This was recordings from the live tour in 1979. This was actually released on compact disc in 2000, and the vinyl was released later on. Again, I've only bought this recently. It's actually quite good, I really like it. Great to see it on vinyl as well. Double, which has 12 songs. Versions here are pretty mellow again, and the band are great. Passenger is the name, and they're all excellent players. We also have them complemented with John Belazikian on oud and mandolin, and Rafi Hakopian on violin, and Jennifer Warnes and Sharon Robinson on backing vocals. Yeah. The band themselves: Steve Meader on drums, Bill Ginn keyboards, Mitch Watkins electric guitar, Paul Eistermeyer saxophone and flute, and of course the legendary Roscoe Beck on bass. He worked with Cohen, I'd say, nearly till the end. That's the insert. Nice heavyweight vinyl. This is a this is a We Are vinyl pressing. Their stuff is good, you know, the discs are usually flat, nicely pressed. Yeah, they're one of the better companies really. Better vinyl producers. The other side has just got, again, the other LP has got the same labels on it. Yeah, this is a nice souvenir, and has it on CD, but I think the vinyl is really nice to have as well. Next up is Various Positions. This was released in 1984. Cohen was well off the radar at this stage. Maybe it had been 5 years since the album Recent Songs in 79, and yeah, people didn't really hear much from him back in the mid-80s. He actually appeared in an episode of Miami Vice titled French Twist. It's in season 2 of Miami Vice, and he's a kind of a mob bosser, string puller, titled Zolan. It's very funny. So this one, yeah, I like this. It's pretty cool. Dance Me to the End of Love is on it. Coming Back to You, that's one of his best songs, I think. Yeah, really good track. The Night Comes On, that's another good track as well. And of course, the album opens side 2 with Hallelujah. Probably his most loved song, and probably his most covered song as well. It's been ruined by lots of artists, but it's also been covered nicely by people like Jeff Buckley. His version is quite good, pretty soulful. This album also has If It Be Your Will. That's another great track. Jennifer Warnes appears on that as well. Yeah, not a bad album. Captain and Hunter's Lullaby are pretty good as well. I remember buying this, it could probably be written inside here, it is too, on the 31st of the 12th, 1988. This was the last album I bought in 1988. Yeah, there you go. CBS, Red Label. I'm Your Man. This was released in 1988. This was his comeback, I guess. Everybody was talking about Leonard Cohen after this album came out. Plus, famous Blue Raincoat, the Jennifer Warnes album, which was released the year before, actually brought his songs to a new audience. This one is great though. It's probably, I think it's his best album. You know, there's 8 songs on it and they're all different. And yeah, it's just a fantastic album. It's just, yeah, everything about it is great. First we did Manhattan, fantastic. Ain't No Cure for Love, that became a very, very popular song. Also live in concert, Everybody Knows, that's another great track as well. And I'm Your Man itself, very, very cool track. And Take This Waltz, that's one of the most beautiful tracks he's ever accomplished. Jazz Police, that's a bit strange. But again, it suits the album. You've got I Can't Forget, which is another great track as well. And Tower of Song. Yeah. Tower of Song, I think, was just Cohen playing into a cassette recorder. If you actually listen to it, there's a bit of hiss on it. This album was produced by Leonard Cohen. Production coordination, Roscoe Beck. Technical coordination, Leanne Ungar. So yeah, it's a great album, and that's all there is to say about it, really. Buy it, you love it. Bought this myself in October 1988. I was big into him at the time. So yeah, it's definitely his best album, and he toured after this extensively, and like I said, the rest is history. I think he kind of cemented his reputation. Next up is The Future. This was released in late 1992. It also came out in vinyl back then, but I never bought it. I bought the CD. I was a bit disappointed with it at the time because I'm Your Man. You know, I played that a lot in the preceding years before this one came out, and I just found this one a little bit too one-dimensional. But in retrospect, it's actually a good album, and I've grown more fond of it over the years. This is the 2012 Music on Vinyl reissue. There are originals out there, but I just couldn't ever find one. Yeah, it's a good album. The Future is the first track on it. It's like a cross between Dire Straits and Chris Rea, Leonard Cohen. Things are going to slide in all directions. Waiting for the Miracle, that's a slow song. And it's a co-write with Sharon Robinson. Then you've got Be For Real, that's a cover of a song by Frederick Knight. That's actually quite nice. A soulful song. And then Closing Time. Anthem. Democracy is Coming to the USA. Light as the Breeze. And then you have Always by Irving Berlin, that's another cover. And Tacoma Trailer, so it's an instrumental. So yeah, this is a good album. Well recorded as well. Nice heavyweight reissue. Columbia Red Label. Yeah. I don't think there's anything else in there. No, there isn't. Because you have all the credits and all the information's on the back. He went on tour the year after this, and there was a live album again. Leonard Cohen Live, or Live. It was released on CD and cassette, but it still hasn't appeared on vinyl. Hopefully someday it will. Next up is 10 New Songs. This album was released in 2001. It was his first studio album in almost a decade. There was a live album in 94. This has yet to make it to vinyl. I wish it would. So this one, I had trouble getting this. I started making this video back in early October, and for love nor money I couldn't find it. This album is out of print, but I managed to land a new copy just yesterday, so I've been waiting for it for a while. And there was a time when it was in nearly every record shop, and yeah, nobody seemed to be too fussed. But 10 New Songs anyway is quite mellow, very, very mellow. Some of these songs as well made it onto the live set list. My Secret Life, I think, and Boogie Street. Like I said, it's a pretty mellow album. It was produced by Sharon Robinson. There's kind of a soulful theme going through it, but it's pretty downbeat, relaxing album. And you know, there's no band dynamics or anything like that. You know, it's all drum machines and synthesizers. In one of his books, he explains all about the recording of this album. So I'm going to open it up here. Yeah, so I will give you advice. When you see an album you think you want, just buy it, because you know when it's going to go out of print. Also lyrics. And the blue Columbia label for this one. It's very nice. So this completes my Leonard Cohen collection on vinyl. I'm sure there's a few more things that I don't have, but everything that's been released now I have. So yeah, this was, like I said, it was holding up the whole video, and there you have it. Next up is Dear Heather. This was released in 2004. This one is pretty mellow, very mellow. Yeah. 12 tracks on it, and they're quite, you gotta listen to them, you know. They're pretty sparse. It was produced and engineered by Leanne Wingar, Sharon Robinson, and Janie Thomas and Ed Sanders. Yeah, it's not bad. This is the We Are Vinyl issue. It has download card. It has credits and stuff here. Some are co-writes, the people mentioned before. And yeah, it's not a bad album. It's nice. One you're going to have to listen to a few times. The vinyl itself is very nice. Good pressing. Same on both sides. Next up is Live in London. This was released in 2009. I remember buying the CD. This is the music on vinyl version, and it is actually quite nice. It's a nice package, great cover photograph as well. Absolutely beautiful. There's Leonard with his golden nylon string guitar. He's back touring again. And it's a 3 LP set. It's actually quite heavy as well. This was released in 2014. Columbia, Sony Music. Fantastic photographs. The discs are quite heavy. Each one is just black and white like that. Then there's this. It's from one concert at the O2 Arena, July 17th, 2008. I actually saw him that year. Saw him in Dublin, and it was a great concert. So it's really got all the hits on it. There's some new songs as well, but generally stuff like Dance Me to the End, Of Love, The Future, Ain't No Cure for Love, Bird on a Wire, Everybody Knows, In My Secret Life, Who by Fire, That's No Way to Say Goodbye, Anthem, Introduction, Tower of Song, Suzanne the Gypsy's Wife, Boogie Street. That's featuring Sharon Robinson. Hallelujah, Democracy, I'm Your Man. Recitation, In L. Neil Larson. Music, Take This Waltz, So Long Marian, First We Take Manhattan, Sisters of Mercy, If It Be Your Will, Closing Time, I Tried to Leave You, Whither Thou Goest. Yeah, it's a great album. Sound is fantastic, the arrangements are good. Roscoe Beck is the musical director. So as well, the backing vocals on this are supplied by the Webb sisters, Charlie and Hattie. Yeah, this is a kind of a, it's like a live greatest hits really, but it's definitely worth having. Next up is Songs from the Road. This was released in 2010. Yeah, just a year after Live in London. It's actually very good. It's a double LP of songs from the same tour, really. And there's some songs on this that didn't make it to the London album. So it hasn't got the same completeness and brilliance as London, but it's still very, very good. Lover, 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 Burn the Wire, Chelsea Hotel, Heart with No Companion, That Don't Make It Junk, Waiting for the Miracle, Avalanche, Suzanne, The Partisan, Famous Raincoat, Hallelujah, and Closing Time. Yeah, it's a great album. This is a 2017 We Are vinyl repress, and when I bought this, yeah, there was a little slight bit of, it looked like there was kind of a laminating damage and some liquid must have got on it or something like that. It said it was used on Amazon, but when I got it, it was wrapped in the factory shrink, so yeah, it was cheap enough, but there's a bit of damage. They're going to refund me. I just don't want to send it back, it's just too much trouble, you know. It's, I mean, I can live with it, it's just annoying, but if I'd paid full price, well then I'd be really annoyed. The LP itself sounds absolutely fantastic. Great pressing, really is a good pressing. Really nice labels as well, Columbia Records, 33 1/3. Both discs are actually the same. But yeah, it's nice, you know, it really is a nice souvenir. And there's a download code as well, but I bought this on CD back when it came out. Next up is Old Ideas. This was released in 2012. It's not a bad album, very, what'll I say, down tempo again. It's the sound of an old man making records, and that's what Cohen was when he made this 10 years ago. 180 gram vinyl, also contains CD of complete album. Yeah, so this stuff is quite mellow, no doubt. Here's the inner sleeve, same on both sides, picture label. But lyric sheet. This one, it's got some nice graphics and stuff as well. He collaborates here with Patrick Leonard, and Patrick Leonard worked with Madonna back in the 80s, wrote some of her biggest hits. And Gianni Thomas is also here, Ed Sanders and Dino Soldo. Yeah, so it's pretty mellow stuff. You know, you kind of immerse yourself in it. That's the CD, comes in a little generic white paper sleeve. Like I said, it's not a bad album. Like I like all his albums, but these ones, the later ones, are the music is kind of background in some ways, and you know, the lyrics kind of grab your attention more. There's less fancy melodies, if you know what I'm saying. But yeah, it's still a cool album from Leonard. Popular Problems. This was released in 2014. It's almost like a continuation of old ideas. Again, this one features a CD version inside. That's the cool thing about Sony Music. I think that they give you good value for money. Even today, their LPs are slightly cheaper than anything by Universal. And I think that's good, because Universal seem to have everything and they're really cranking up the prices. This one, I liked this one. I bought it, yeah, I really like it. And opens up with Slow, which is really cool. It's kind of a funky, dark, kind of downbeat funk track. Yeah, really good. Almost like the blues. Samson in New Orleans, A Street, Did I Ever Love You? That's a great track as well. It's a great country kind of style chorus on it. My oh my, never mind. Born in Chains, You Got Me Singing. This one is, it's a little bit more uplifting than the latter. It's the disc. Great artwork again. And collaboration again with Patrick Leonard. And yeah, songs could have been recorded around the same time period. And yeah, I really like it. Yeah, good album. Probably one of his best of the last 10 years. Next up is You Want It Darker. This was released in 2016. This was the last album released in his lifetime. He died after this was released. When I heard this, to me, it sounded like songs from a man that was actually dying and knew he was dying. So yeah, he's kind of saying goodbye in this one. And yeah, it's pretty deep stuff, and again, at the same time, there's a little bit of humour in there. Yeah, You Want It Darker, Treaty, On the Level, Leaving the Table, If I Didn't Have Your Love, Travelling Light, It Seemed the Better Way, Steer Your Way, String Reprise Treaty. Yeah. Again, Patrick Leonard works on this, and Sharon Robinson also works here. Nice arrangements as well, and some production by Adam Cohen, his son. Yeah. This is the last album of Leonard's career, and it's not a bad way to end. Thanks for the Dance. This one was released in 2019, but they're songs that he was working on before he passed away, and his son completed the project with the help of others. I really like the sleeve on this. It's just totally black cardboard. Really, really very, very nice. It definitely has the kind of an obituary feel to it. And gold leaf print in embossed style. It's excellent. Very, very tasteful. And there's also a version of this on white vinyl. In more gold. It's beautifully done. Absolutely beautiful. And there's the label. So there's guests on this. Lots of different people helped complete it. And again here, words Leonard Cohen, music by Adam Cohen. Pat Leonard is also here, and Janie Thomas. I think Beck is also on it in some form or another, some track. Backing vocals, Damien Rice. Yeah, lots and lots of guests on it. There's no duets really as such, you know, from the other guests, but they just do backing vocals and play instruments and stuff like that. It's a short album. I think it's only over 30 minutes. It's, yeah, really nice. And a fitting end. There's been nothing really of note. I thought they would have released a lot of live stuff and maybe outtakes and stuff like that, but yeah, it's been slow enough coming. And I thought there'd be a few concert recordings, but nothing seems to be coming at all. He's dead now over nearly 6 years, I think. Yeah. And finally we have a compilation. This has just come out. It's titled Hallelujah and Songs from His Albums. It's a career spanning collection, it says here. Limited edition translucent blue vinyl, inspired by the new film Hallelujah, Leonard Cohen, A Journey, A Song. So yeah, I just picked this up and it's pretty nice. Nice compilation to have. Check out the track listing on the back here. Side 1, Hallelujah, live at Glastonbury, not previously released. Suzanne, Bird on a Wire, Famous Blue Raincoat. Side 2, Chelsea Hotel Number 2, Who by Fire, Dance Me to the End of Love, I'm Your Man. Side 3, Anthem, The Future, In My Secret Life, Recitation. NL, A Thousand Kisses Deep. Side 4, Show Me the Place, Come Healing, You've Got Me Singing, You Want It Darker, Thanks for the Dance. So yeah, this is only just out. On the website, the cover photograph looks really, really cool. And I was thinking, yeah, it's a fantastic photograph. I think it's from the Isle of Wight concert in the 70s. But yeah, it looks quite pixelated here now as well. It's yeah, it's a bit disappointing in reality, you know. But you know, everything on this is a nice gatefold, and you get the lyrics, and it tells you what albums these are from. That's really nice. Itself, oh wow, that is absolutely nice. Absolutely beautiful. Wow. Nice souvenir. You know, it's a nice souvenir. The second sleeve. I like the way they put into the albums. Stuff comes from. That's nice. Wow. Check out this one. Here you go. Read the discs. Very, very, very nice indeed. Yeah, that's a nice bookend, I guess, to an incredible career. I'm happy with this. Like I said, it's a nice compilation. Very, very nice. So that's it. That's Leonard Cohen on vinyl. This is my Leonard Cohen collection. And like I said, he's a great singer-songwriter. He's a little bit indescribable, really. You know, been listening to him for a long, long time now, since the late 80s. And it's been a very, very enjoyable experience indeed. So thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe and take care.